Glad to have you back. Now, the Federal Road Safety Commission has come a long way since it was established through a decree by the federal government in 1988.
Well, the commission was created to ensure the highways are safe for motorists and other road users. FRSC is charged with responsibility of preventing or minimizing accidents on our highways nationwide, clearing obstructions on any part of the highways too, as well as educating motorists and the public on road signs and traffic laws.
Now, it has since grown into an ultra-modern outfit, introducing different devices and mechanisms to make our roads even more safer. Now, today, the FRSC is 30 years old. We'll be looking at the achievements of the corps since its formation, as well as the activities to commemorate this special day and some of the knocks, really. Well, we have in the studio with us the Sector Commander, Federal Road Safety Corps, Ogun State, Clement Oladele. Thank you for joining us on the show. And congratulations, first off.
Happy birthday to FRSC.
Thank you very much. And good morning, viewers.
Yeah.
All right.
So how has the journey been, really, so far?
I think it's been very interesting. And because if you take it from the onset, before 88, when the federal government decided, okay, they're going to set up FRSC, it was almost difficult to travel on Nigerian highways, up to the extent that even the World Health Organization had to describe Nigeria as one of the worst countries to drive your motor vehicles. In fact, they said second after Ethiopia globally. But along the line, with the rate of crashes, fatality, and with the intervention of FRSC in 1988, we have seen systematic reduction in fatality. So, in a nutshell, with the intervention of FRSC, highways in Nigeria are now safer. Because if you take it from about 25,000 crashes were recorded in the country at a point.
Yearly?
Yes. We now have the death rate in the country now about 5,000. And even if you even put it down to like Ogun State, I got to Ogun State on Monday, 17th of October 2016. In 2015, the fatality in Ogun State was 307. So we put up a strategy to make sure that we bring it down. And from 307 in 2015, we brought it down to 270 the following year, and then last year we brought it down to 110 deaths. So, and our hope is that, yes, we'll keep on bringing it down systematically till, because we have a strategy document from 2017 to year 2030, so that by that time we'll have the number of death rates in the country using 2015 data of 307. Even if we still achieve that, it's huge. But then I think with the intervention of FRSC, there's been lots of progress in Nigeria. Highways have been safer, but most importantly, there's been international value that FRSC has brought to Nigeria. Today, it is possible for you to be any part of the world. You have access to internet, and you have web-enabled payment. You can conveniently renew your driver's license without coming to a driver's license center. So these are part of the things that FRSC has brought. And we've brought lots of awareness, just to, especially to the young people in schools, NYC Road Safety Club members, and then also to the road safety, the second arm of the FRSC, which is the special marshals. So these categories of people, they've done lots of enlightenment to the extent that even the average person knows what it is. Like if you remember 2 years ago, when the issue of tire blowout was a big concern in the country. Now almost everybody knows how to check even the validity of their tires, when the tire is going to expire, how long you're going to use the tires. And so all these are the value add that the establishment of FRSC has been to Nigeria.
We are like 12 years away now from the anticipated 2030, well, will I say the landmark now, which you mentioned earlier now, where Nigeria is expected to join the rest of the world now in having deaths by at least 50%. So you're telling us now that Nigeria is well on the way now to achieving
yes,
that
well, there are actually two strategic documents. The first one is by the United Nations that says that countries in the world should reduce by half the rate of fatalities, and that one is supposed to end by year 2020. Nigeria is far way into it, and we're about to meet it. Then, and we know that as soon as we complete that in year 2020, there's another United Nations document, Sustainable Development Goals, and that is one of the things we're trying to do, so that by year 2030, we can reduce by half the number of fatalities we have. So that if we just keep on doing this year on, then we can get a country whereby safety is assured. Like in Ogun State, part of the things we want to do is that the whole grand master plan is that we want to see that in Ogun State, we make the highways to be the safest, not only in Nigeria, but the whole of West Africa. Because we realize Ogun State is a state whereby people come into the state. Now it has become an industrial hub for the country. And because of that, a series of people, they come into the country, into the state. When they come to the country, they come into Ogun State. And also, Ogun State has a peculiar history. It's the only state that has 2 former presidents still living and a current vice president. We also have lots of tourist attractions. So because of these, people come into the state. And then the major highways in Ogun State, Lagos, Ibadan, and also from Ajibandele up to Ijebu-Ode, up to Shagam, to Lagos, all these highways, the international corridors. Not only, so people come from other West African countries. So if they don't get killed in their countries, to Ogun State, either for tourism, either for sightseeing, either for even business, they should not get killed in Nigeria. They should not get killed in Ogun State. And that is our watchword. And
what have you been doing differently really since then? Because there were times that the FRSC was bugged with so many controversies, especially on the part of the officials on the road. And they were even at loggerheads somehow with some road officials at the state level. But now that you're recording successes, what would you say is the magic one, the secret weapon you're using this time around? Because we recall that you were here even in December, and we know how your officials worked across the highways in the country then.
I think, let me just talk about 3 basic issues. One of the first things we did in FRSC was that we had to do a reinvention of the call to say, okay, who are we? What is FRSC? What do we do? How do we do it? And how best can we still do it? Knowing fully well that we have to project into the future. Then, and part of the things also we had to do was that we did something, it's quite simple, but it was very significant. Even though we're a public institution, we decided that we're going to modernize FRSC, and we're going to attempt to have an ISO certification. So today, when you talk about ISO, you only see it in private institutions.
Products and all that.
Yes. But in FRSC Nigeria now is the only law enforcement agency that is ISO 9001.
In the country?
Satisfied. Not in Africa. In Africa. The whole of Africa.
Wow.
So, and it has done lots of things, because what ISO allows you to do is that it enables a third party to come in and audit your processes. And so that means you have to be on top of your game. And then we also ensure that we made FRSC to be on the, we had to use technology to drive the core. And currently FRSC is on the cutting edge. And with this, it has done lots of, now there's no way you can write promotion exam in FRSC if you don't write it, because it's just digital examinations that we write. What happens is that wherever the call marshal is, who is the chief examiner, they just set the questions, you sit in the hall or wherever that is designated, then you have your questions mailed to you, then you answer the questions and mail it back. And
well,
then
your founding fathers, apologies for the interruption, your founding fathers should be pleased, at, the great ground that FRSC, the modern day FRSC has covered. But then still on this modernization drive now, with all this, yet there are some calamities sadly recorded by officers of your agency. In 2016, at least now, from what we have now, the most recent records, at least 60 or 70 FRSC officials, were killed in the course of their duties. Some assaulted, downright assault, some caught in the line of accidents and all that. And now lawmakers are canvassing that you and your men and officers generally be made to carry arms. Is that a discussion FRSC is pondering seriously?
Well, I think like FRSC of tomorrow, now we'll mark 30 years. So maybe in the next 30 years, I think 3 basic things will come into play that we have to look at. The first one is the current restructuring of the country. If the country is restructured, the second thing is technology. And then the last thing is what you mentioned, and the bearing of firearms. If I'm going, let me just talk about the 2 of them. On bearing of firearms, I don't think FRSC, even as at now, we want to bear firearms just to go for patrols, except when we start to do massive night operations, where we have to use it for safety of our men. But more importantly, we have discovered that the National Information Database architecture that drives the processing for ensuring that we guarantee safety of road users in the country, the driver license and the number plate, whereby it is easy for us to just at the punch of the button dictate and track an offender to his home, and we can locate him and bring him to justice. Is multi-billion naira investment, and then you need to protect the hardware, the infrastructure. So because of this, most times when we ask sister agencies to come to our aid, even they are overstretched because of the current security challenges in the country. So maybe perhaps because of that, we may need, because even the Act recognizes that FRSC can bear firearms. Right. And then also, like I told you, maybe if we need to do night operations, yes, so that we can just guarantee the safety of our men. And then also because of series of attacks, because now people are becoming more, maybe because of economic situation, because of use of drugs and other issues that just happens. Even when we go for operations sometimes, you see people just want to come and attack our men for some reasons that is not even, that are even beyond us. Maybe for instance, there's a automobile crash that results in fire. With that, and then we call for fire service, and if not responded, there's little or nothing we can do. I want to just make sure that
there have been instances, really. Wouldn't you say that maybe it could be a blowback from the way some of the officials of the commission behaved in public? I don't want to use unruly, because there were embarrassing videos of some FRSC officials, some dragging steering wheels with their drivers, or some even beating motorists at some point, recorded by Nigerians and then uploaded online. Many of these videos. So do you think maybe that could be one of the reasons some Nigerians are becoming kind of aggressive now once they see officials?
No, I don't think it's because of that. If you see, I'm happy you're a journalist, you will notice that it happens across the board, even to other civilians, even to other armed carrying organizations. It's not just about FRSC. And most of these videos, after due diligence, after reviewing those videos, we discovered that most of them, those that are uploaded them, they only upload an aspect of it. So it's half-truth. So they will not upload the aspect that where they had to attack our men, and most time our men have to like do self-defense. So but I'm not saying that we have to condone, our men. But actually, there are some of our men that are bad. They are also from the society. But the court martial ensures that those, and management ensures that those that are bad, they just check them out of the system. So that, because if you look at how FRSC started in 1988, the founding fathers, how they labored to put the core at the pedestrian, which it is now, we have no other choice than to just not only sustain it, but make sure that we improve upon it so that we can just guarantee safety for road users in the country.
By the way, is FRSC still called core, or is a commission?
Is actually the act specified to yes, the commission is the umbrella body. It comprises the chairman and the members of the commission, that is like the commissioners, as we call it, our board of directors, with the core marshal. And then why so they make
core
policies.
Itself now.
They make policies, but yes, but the core is the one that implements these policies. Okay. So but people now normally interchange them, Federal Safety Commission, Federal Safety Corps.
Okay, so talking about all this now that you just mentioned, is there a program in place to engage FRSC officials on periodic training so they can get better at what they do and then understand the need for integration, really, to maintain rules of engagement and how to interact with civilians more?
Yes, it's a continuum. In fact, I think without sounding modest, I think FRSC is one of the most trained organizations, because as a matter of rule, at least once every week, you must attend an in-house.
Really?
It is compulsory. And that even if you don't attend it, it has an impact on your final promotion exams. Because when you do it on a quarterly basis, they collate your attendance. They also collate the exams that comes on from it. It's also an online exam. As soon as you complete the exam, they send the results to the national headquarters. They now collate it, and then it forms part of your final promotion. So you cannot just joke with it. So every week, at least once in a week, you must attend detailed training. Sometimes they even do
international standards.
Yes, and some other times even bring external facilitators.
FRSC has come out with a lot of innovations, and most of those innovations have been met with controversies, even back there in Parliament. Now we can talk about the licensing, we could talk about the speed limiters. The lawmakers had to come down hard on that now, and the issue has been, shouldn't FRSC drive home the point of making our roads better, of making road signs available on all expressways nationwide, instead of bringing in what appears to be like FRSC is on a mission to fleece Nigerians further, using the speed limiters as an example?
Yes, I think when you look at what guarantees safety on the highway, there are three basic issues you can look at. You look at the vehicle, you look at the road itself, and the man that drives the vehicle. And of course, the man is the most important thing. And so I need to flag this, that even now, as technology is going to affect the future of FRSC, is that we will just wake up maybe in the next 20, 30 years and discover that there are no drivers. Not because they don't want to have drivers, but just because we realize that the driver has discretion and he does not use his discretion very well. And I'll give you a quick example. 2 days ago, there was a crash that happened at Ogumaki. You will not believe it that in 21st century, a truck that was carrying a container decided to carry some passengers and lock them. Lock the key, and the driver put the key in his pocket. And those people allowed that they should be carried like that. And he now drove dangerously until he crashed and killed these people. The driver ran away, the motorbike also ran away, and these 7 people that were locked in the
means of escape.
They couldn't escape, and they were burnt to ashes. So, and that is why now the issue is that don't allow somebody to have discretion. Let the vehicles, let them drive themselves, and also let these vehicles, let them be to have crash avoidance technology so that they don't even collide. And also, if the vehicle is malfunctions, it cannot start. So with all this, definitely it's going to affect how FRSC is going to operate in the future. But FRSC is already prepared. We are going to do that. But in answering your question, when you look at these 3 aspects that affect the safety on the highways, you will realize that if you don't put interventions as affects the road, as affect the driver, and also the vehicles, then it will be difficult for you to guarantee safety. In our studies, because FRSC is a data-driven organization, we are performance-driven. So one of the things we do is we look at our data and discover that over time, about 60% of the crashes in the country were just due to speed.
But does FRSC liaise with, for example, public transporters, NURTW, and other commercial road users and even private users before bringing out new policies? Because that is usually the problem. They come out to complain that you just, FRSC just sits in the comfort of its office, the officials there decide, and then they introduce something new and then they start complaining.
No, it's not correct. I don't think so.
But do you liaise with them? Do you talk to them? Do you?
Constantly. Okay. We do constant negotiation, constant meetings with them. They come to our office, we come to their office also. We meet them regularly on the road, we go to their motor parks. It's even easier for us to relate with them than to relate with individual private operators, because we can easily see them, so we go to their offices or we arrest them on the highways. So what happens is that when most of these policies, before we like for instance the policy on speed limiter, it took almost 5 years of engagement. Even the former president even approved it, but unfortunately the government left, and when we have to start all over. We have to inform the new government. I think the president President Buhari gave 3 different approvals until we went to the National Assembly. When they stopped it, we went for public sitting, and they now said that it is a policy that is in the right place, because we realize with vehicles that are, most of the crashes are caused by speed. And the only way you can ensure that you reduce speed is just remove the discretion from the person, because when you tell him, even if he tells you I'm going to do it, he will eventually not do it.
Because if it's going beyond the particular speed,
it brings it back, so that you cannot go beyond
that's what the speed limiter does. But while you drive home this campaign, I'm still going to stress, my earlier question, and perhaps ask in a way that, it even matters to your officers. I made the roads the expressways are in such, porous conditions, and they're just death traps. As in, I really have to, commend officers of the FRSC, who are taken to remote areas. Still, they call those areas, areas that have expressways, and then they see the armed robberies, they see all the deadly attacks that happen, they see how bad the roads are. Are you also, in the words of Aziza now, are you also liaising with Ministry of Works, for example? These roads are bad. This is what you've seen in all its picture, black and white. Are you driving home this point? Can you just make these roads, better, make these roads safer while you do your other advocacy? I
think one is to bring an official of Federal Ministry of Works, Power and housing, or the minister, ask him this question.
To bear witness.
Or ask FEMA. They will tell you that it is part of our processes. Every quarter we conduct what we call road audits, and we forward these recommendations, even about the road conditions. We periodically send it to them, because we're every time on the road.
You're critical,
and so with that, most of the road, even you see the intervention that the federal government ordered through the president, that FEMA should do rehabilitation, is based on some of these reports.
And are they worked upon?
Yes, they're working on them. If you travel now, you see that government has made appreciable impact in seeing that roads are rehabilitated. Okay,
let's look at the driver's license now. It's quite easy. You mentioned it earlier to get a driver's license, but then I'm particular about the price. The amount on the document that someone is supposed to pay is not the actual amount they pay. And of course, there are so many people that are complaining about this. Many of those that drive. Is the same issue with some other government parastatals. They tell you pay an amount, even in immigration. This is the amount you're supposed to pay. But when you get to the office, or maybe for capturing and all that, and you're supposed to make payment, it's way higher, even 100% higher than what they eventually pay. What is going on? And then, of course, there are accusations of bribe taking by FRSC men on the highways now. Still part of the system.
The issue of a driver's license is most times, I think what happens is we have this culture in the country whereby you don't want to do things yourself. You don't want to take responsibility. You just want somebody to do it for you, because and it's very important you should do it yourself. To renew your driver's license or to obtain a new driver's license, if it is a new driver's license, you have to go to driving school. It is 6,350 naira. It's actually 6,350 is the bank transaction charge for 3 years. So if you are going to do for 5 years, it's 10,350 naira. But when you refuse to do it yourself, most times people you even meet, they will do fake for you. They can even do it for as much as 20, 30,000 naira. But it is fake. Is it not better for you and wise for you to go and renew it? And if you do fake, there's no way you can renew it if you travel out of the country. So it is better for you do it. And that is why most of the efforts being made by the corps is to ensure that we use technology to drive this process, so that you can just sit in the confines of your home or your office, or even you're abroad. Then you can use technology to do your own renewal. When you want to renew and you want to do web payment, web payment you cannot ask you for anything extra. To just ask you for 6,350, it will indicate the amount. This is the amount.
And when they are supposed to pick up their cards, they don't get charged extra?
No, nobody's going to. Because there's
a trend.
Most times you don't even collect it.
Which I even witnessed.
You don't even collect it from FRSC's office, because it's a tripartite arrangement.
No. Right.
Yes. No, it has always been like that.
It wasn't like that.
It has even since 1990 when they started the scheme, before we kept on modernizing it. That is how it has always been, because it is a. Then if it was done that way,
I don't want it to turn to an argument, so let me just let you make that
then I'm sure that it is. No, if you have issues, you can either contact me. I have my I put down my number to people, 08077690202. You can call me.
To publicly make complaints.
Yes, you can also send an email to me, oc.oladele@frsc.gov.ng, if it concerns FRSC in Ogun State. Then you can even send a mail to the call marshal bo.oyemi@frsc.gov.ng. He will attend to it personally, he will respond to you. Or you call 122, then they can address your complaint. Then
all right. Okay. But
no, I was going to ask about the issue of bribe. But go ahead with your...
Yes. Perhaps
you
you should finish
bribe.
that, because
Yes,
I also
you
have
to
another
make a point.
element now to that. So just perhaps make it quick.
Okay, on the issue of bribe,
Right.
I think up till now, I can still say with certainty that FRSC is the least corrupt organization. Even when you ask people outside, they'll tell you. We have bad eggs, there's no doubt about it, but we keep on flushing them out. Everybody knows that the moment you join FRSC at the academy, at the training school, they will tell you the first thing is that when you collect bribe, that is the end of the job. But that does not mean people will not say want to circumvent it. But we even have a greater challenge, whereby members of the public, they want to tempt our boys. But we also have a rule whereby if you tempt and you offer bribe, they give you a ticket. And constantly, I think about last month, over 30 people were dismissed by the call marshal.
And these people are those in the system, like those who work admin jobs or those who are out
and so many others, they are going on with their trials.
Let's quickly touch on the issue of underage drivers now, still on our roads now. I don't know how much of a challenge it is to you, but perhaps you would confirm now that with this 160, you said, deaths now for the year 2017 in Ogun State.
No, I said we used to have 270. Now,
but as at last year, it stood at what?
210.
210 deaths. Yeah. Okay. What's the proportion now of these accidents now caused by underage drivers? How much of it? How much of a worry does that mean now for the agency?
Honestly, in Ogun State, is not a big challenge to us because we don't see it often. I think the only time you see it is maybe usually when we have during holidays, when students are on break. And I know some aunties, even some parents, because usually when we arrest them, we insist that you bring your parents to the office.
Naturally. And
they will not hand over the vehicle to you, but to your parents after an undertaking it. And then if the person is of age up to 18, we insist that you go and do a driver's license so that you'll be authorized to drive. And most times the parents, they even tell us that some of them, they go and duplicate the keys. So that when you hit the key, they will still go with the other kids.
Falsified driver's licenses.
Yes, it's their responsibility. And moreover, the moment your child is not of age and he drives, then the responsibility, you also bear part of the responsibility, because it is your own duty to ensure that he does not have access to the automobile.
Okay, so as FRSC marks 30 years, what are the areas to work on as you look ahead?
Yes, I've told you that in the next 30 years, issue of especially technology, because we just discussed now, if we don't have drivers to drive motor vehicles, then what is going to happen to the over 200 driver license centers we have in FRSC? Okay. Then if vehicles don't collide, because there's crash avoidance technology, what is going to happen to vehicle inspection? So those are part of the issues that is going to, but in FRSC, we are, like I told you, on the cutting edge. We're just prepared for this. We have strategies to just ensure that we don't wake up and see our jobs taken over by technology. So keep on.
So that's a challenge.
Yes, it's a huge challenge. It's a huge challenge to the FRSC.
Contender.
So, yes. No. But what it's going to do is that it's going to
aid your work.
Yes, right. Aid the FRSC to do, because if we don't have crashes, if there's crash avoidance technology, if drivers, which consider about 90% of the crashes, they don't drive, and vehicles they have to drive themselves, then we just have crashes reduced in the country.
Is FRSC considering 24 hours operation? Because vehicles are still being plied overnight.
Even now we do 24 hours. It's just that usually when it is getting dark, maybe as from 10, we scale down our operations, because since we are not armed presently, so it becomes very difficult. Right. Even when you are armed and you go to the road in the night, and generally, even almost all aspects of ensuring that you provide safety usually goes to sleep in the night. Even in the hospital, when you go to the hospital around 10, 11, 12, most times you don't meet the doctors.
But we can't ignore
there are always officials on ground.
There are, but even in the FRSC offices also, we have our men that they work of 24 hours. You have
on
to
the
do
roads?
No, it might not be on the road now when it's from 10 p.m., but they will be in the office, so that if there's a crash, they can easily contact them then.
I even understand that there may be, you know, realities on ground, because even for the average traveler, I know many people, you know, even if it still exists now for night traveling, it's not as attractive as it was before now. There are realities on ground that even your organization cannot
travel
ignore.
Actually, if you go through the roads, you fly to the north.
Can't even forget articulated vehicles now, you know, who still ply the roads. Now, that's the best time for articulated vehicles now, you know, to ply the expressways. And sadly, we've seen the havoc now that, you know, these vehicles, you know, have done on our roads. Early in the morning, you just see another one falling on the side now. What is the Corps now doing about that? Because that remains a major ugly sight on our roads, on our expressways.
Yes, it's actually a huge challenge, especially in Ogun State. Because when you look at Ogun State, I think on Lagos-Ibadan Express roads, on a daily basis, average of 10 to 12,000 vehicles, and about 60% of them are trucks. In fact, in Ogun State, there's no way you're not content with trucks. So that's why, like in year 2018, this year, our key focus is on truck safety and also child education. We've done a lot of advocacy, we've met with them, because we want to start from the basics. And things like, they might look so simple: registration, making sure that you have a number plate, making sure that the driver is trained, making sure that the driver doesn't have access to illicit drugs, because that is what is responsible for, and alcohol. And then making sure that even the vehicle are in top-notch conditions, so that when you drive, then you are sure that the vehicle will not only reach its destination, but it will not kill other innocent road users.
So what other programs are lined up already for the
I think basically it will start on Monday with an anniversary parade by a paramilitary organization. Then we'll do hospital visitation, just to remind people that, oh, they're also part of us. Then there will be novelty football match. Then there will be media advocacy. We also go to the mosque. We go to church. There will be football competition, and just like
Do you plan on giving back to society somehow, maybe doing some form of CSR in the midst of your pump and pageantry?
Yes, that's why. It's not actually pump and pageantry. It's actually just to be grateful to God that we know of so many organizations that started with FRSC in 1988, but there are no more today.
Because the government agency is bound to last. Is the government set up by the federal government?
Yes,
so
it's bound to last, because government invested money in them. Government also recruited people and also made sure that they just want to fill some void, and that is what you can imagine. If there were no FRSC, there most of these people that we've saved will have just eventually died. Okay,
but you're looking forward to a more cooperation, especially on the part of motorists across the country.
Yes, that's key. That's the most important thing, because without them, it's going to be very difficult for us to just ensure safety. And interestingly, because even if you look at like in Ogun State last year, we had about 1.8 million people that traveled, and we recorded 210 deaths. That's just about less than 1%. So meaning that most of the drivers are actually, they behave very well, but we still have some, and that is why we have to be on the road. Those that are bad drivers, recalcitrant drivers, we just remove them so that they don't go and cause problem for those that are good drivers.
What's the situation in Ogun State as we wind down this discussion now? Talking about, this is Lagos, you know, we see the VIO, we see so many other agencies, LASMA and co now. But what's the situation as per the intercooperation amongst agencies? Of course, you are federal, but then how is it like?
It's superb.
Right. All right.
I was about to ask that, really, with Trace especially.
Yes, Trace
is there no
No, we don't have frictions. We work very well together. Okay. And then we share information, even with other federal agencies, other security agencies. We share information, we share data, and just to ensure that we meet our mandate. And because remember, we are set up to ensure that there is safety for the citizen, there is security for members of the public.
Fantastic. Okay. Congratulations
again.
Clement Oladile, Sector Commander from Ogun State. We wish you well. Godspeed
Well
in
done,
all
of course,
your
to FRSC.
movements.
Thank you very much.